So there are these things that go together, right, with like the discourse of mental health, really important topics around systemhood and plurality, and talking about conversations around trauma. They're really important to me, to so many of us, and I really wanted to talk about them for a long time. Also, I know that they can be quite difficult to talk about. And, since we're talking as people who have like a massive intense history of trauma, and within a community of people who have a similarly massively intense history of trauma, I really want to try and do my best as much as I can to make communication feel transparent and safe. So anywhere where I feel like a conversation could has an overwhelming amount of factors to try to discuss to make it sound safe without making it it's a balance. Like, conversations can be messy, communication can be messy, and I think it's really healthy to model that and to have that anyway, and to not let that be the end of the conversation and to continue the dialogue. It's something we're learning to do for ourselves, and it's really helpful, with each other, especially with each other. And then from that, with other people in our lives, and then with more and more people outside of us. I cannot even tell you how much it reconditions trauma responses and frees us to have emotional responses instead of protective ones. It's amazing. Also, it's really uncomfortable and it's really hard. So it's a balance, because I never want perfectionism to get involved, but obviously as a protective response it does. So I don't want to avoid a conversation because I think I can't have it perfectly. And I want to acknowledge that conversations that are deeply personal to the plural community and sound like they might have kind of a higher degree of likelihood of triggering people, I guess. I'm mindful about how I have them, whether or not I have them. I don't avoid things that are potentially triggering, because I don't think stuff like this, right? I can't neatly summarize something in one point because it's complex, it has nuance, and it has so many different perspectives about it, and it'll be different for every individual and every system. So it makes it really hard to talk about with any kind of coherence, especially because I want to make information accessible. And that means being able to make it kind of concise or neatly summarized. And you just can't do that with some complex topics. But since it's been so beneficial for us to communicate with each other like this, I think I'm going to start trying to talk about things that matter to us more. And it might mean that things are difficult to communicate about. Because sometimes I have a conversation with somebody, even in my system, and they say something, and I'm like, oh, how I heard that, makes me feel on edge. And what used to happen is that I'd shut down, and I'd go away thinking, oh, this means all these things that are really threatening, and it would take a really long time for me to build up the internal safety to come back and go, hey, what did you mean by this? Because this is what I heard. And then we'd have another conversation. Now I've learned and I've built the skill and the resilience to be able to immediately when somebody says something that makes me go, oh, I go, oh, that made me feel kind of scared because I heard it like this. And 9 times out of 10, what happens is someone goes, oh, I see how you heard it like that. I meant it like this. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's really different. That makes me feel better. So I can't control whether or not people do that. And a lot of the time, trauma makes us have a really strong initial response that could be quite black and white. And a lot of the time, people don't have the skills taught to do anything about that. So people will just watch one thing online. I think it's especially prevalent on social media, and especially when we're talking about topics like this. So somebody might watch the video, hear one thing we say, get triggered, not have the management strategies and go, oh, they meant it like this, that means they're like this as a person. And they might just go away thinking that and having that view. And I've learned that that's nothing to do with me, and I can't control that. All I can do is deliver information to the best of my ability and be open to dialogue. And if people want to type a comment going, I'm not sure about what you just said, great, we can have that discussion. Either I can learn different viewpoints and they can learn different viewpoints, or I can go, I see how you heard it like that, I meant it like this. And it can be scary for everyone, but the more we do it, the more we learn we're safe, the less scary it gets. So I think that's the first part of this.